When it was announced that the Minnesota Vikings would be releasing star running back Dalvin Cook on Friday if they were unable to find a trade partner on Thursday, a lot of people had some hot takes, and a lot of people were blaming general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. It's like, oh, how could Kwesi do this, letting him walk out the door for nothing, just like they cut Thielen, they cut Kendricks, they let P-Squared walk, they let Diesel Dalvin Tomlinson walk, all of that stuff, but it makes sense. It does make sense. Where I love Thielen, I love Kendricks, I love Patrick Peterson, but the business is the business. And also with Dalvin, I mean, yeah, Dalvin may have a year or two left in him, but again, it's good to let players go a year too early versus a year too late. And what Kwesi is doing, he's clearing out some bad extensions that were handed out to aging veterans by the previous regime. I really do not see a problem with it. But the question that a lot of people are asking is, well, Dalvin made 4 straight Pro Bowls. He's a 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Why didn't Kwesi get anything in trade value, right? So there's a number of factors here. Number one, Dalvin is a running back, and he's going to be 28 this season, and 28 is basically 42 at the running back position. It is what it is. And yeah, 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, but a career level 4.4 yards per carry last year. He is coming off a shoulder surgery, and we can't ignore that the fact that if a team traded for Dalvin, they would have to take on his contract at full freight. Now, yes, there could have been negotiations of the Vikings taking on some of Dalvin's 2023 salary, but all of these moves are to free up cap space both this year and rolling over into next year. So that was probably a non-starter for Kwesi, and they would get the same cap relief by releasing him. Well, say hypothetically a team offered a 7th-round pick. Let's talk about absolutely nothing. So a 7th-round pick, but the Vikings had to pay $4 million of Dalvin's salary. Would it make sense to basically buy a 7th-round pick for $4 million? Probably not at this stage. So the Vikings do save $9 million with the offset $2 million they's guaranteed. They're going to save $11 million eventually, and they clear up a ton of cap space for 2024. And I know what you're saying. Well, in my fantasy league, Dalvin's still a 1st-round pick. I understand. And I think that people cross over fantasy value to real world value too much, because it's not like Kwesi was offered a 1st-round pick for Dalvin and he was like, nah, we're good. We're just going to cut him. No, that doesn't make any sense at all. Now, could they have been offered like a 6th or 7th-round pick and then they decided just to release Dalvin because they wanted to right by him? I could see that, but there's no way, there's no chance in hell that Kwesi was offered like a 3rd or 4th-round pick and he just said no. That wasn't going to happen. So, yeah, Dalvin has put up numbers, but this is football. This is not baseball. They pay you for what you're going to do in the future, not what you've done in the past. And Dalvin... I understand 4 straight Pro Bowls, 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He's one of the best running backs in Vikings franchise history, and he stayed healthy last year. Well, he had the shoulder issue, but he played in all regular season games for the first time in his 6-year career. So I understand why people are attached to him, but would you be willing to bet your life savings that Dalvin is going to have a 1,000-yard season this year? Like, would you do that? Or maybe not even that extreme. Would you bet 10,000 jelly beans that Dalvin would have 1,000 yards this year on the table? I don't think you would. I wouldn't, because I have a lot of questions too. And people had takes. Of course they did. Robert Smith, another Vikings all-time great running back. Many will blame the salary cap, but cap hits can be manipulated and both sides agree on value moving forward. If the Vikings thought he was worth his contract, they would have kept him. And yeah, he's absolutely right there, because the Vikings did have around $11 million in cap space, and they weren't really fretting over space at the moment. If another team thought he was worth his current deal, they would have traded for him. Again, Robert Smith is spitting nothing but facts here. And then also, so RG3, I mean, he made a good point, but I think he's off base here. Running backs are getting hosed in the NFL. Dalvin Cook is 27, coming off 4 straight 1,000-yard season, 4 through rushing touchdowns. He is clearly one of the best players in the NFL and has more than earned the money left on his contract, yet the Vikings plan to release him. Ridiculous. Again, I understand it. RG3 generally is pretty fair, especially when it comes to the Vikings, but I think he missed the mark here, because it's not just the Vikings, it's the running back market as a whole. Greg Allman, who's a great Tampa Bay beat writer, if Dalvin Cook was truly worth what he was doing on his remaining contract, NFL teams would gladly have given up anything to take on that contract. Absolute facts. That they didn't says that he isn't worth what he was to make with the Vikings, and his new deal should reinforce that. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I doubt Dalvin makes more than $5 million per year in 2023. I legitimately doubt that. I don't think that he signs a deal that's worth more than $5 million per season. Alec Lewis, 28th in rushing DVOA in 2022, third most runs for 0 or negative yards on a percentage basis among 42 backs with 100 carries. Near the bottom in yards over expected, has third biggest cap number among running backs. This really isn't that complicated. And Alec Lewis, the Vikings beat writer for The Athletic, absolutely spitting facts there as well. So again, two things can be true at once. Dalvin Cook was an absolute stud for the Vikings. He should be regarded as one of the best running backs in team history, and also it was time to move on. And like we said, and like Robert Smith said, like Almond said, like Alec Lewis said, if Dalvin was worth that 10.4, teams would have been lining up around the block to trade for him, except no one did. And again, no, I don't believe Kwesi could have worked the phones more and got a second-round pick. No, that's ridiculous. We're not living in reality if that's your take. So it is what it is. And the Vikings and Kwesi right now, their priority is clearing up cap space and clearing up some of those bad veteran contracts, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. But your thoughts are thoughts. Why didn't the Vikings get any trade value for Dalvin Cook? Question mark. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.